Deadlock is Valve's newest title, a third-person MOBA shooter set in a fictional, mystical 1920s New York, full of occultists, golems, and ghosts. Currently, the game is in early development playtesting, so some features are still awaiting to be added. One such feature are achievements. Since nothing in the game has been finalized, of course putting in achievements is out of the question. You don't want to have to edit achievements every time a hero gets changes, especially when the dev team are making changes so often. All that being said, what achievements should Deadlock have? Now, I'm a bit of an expert when it comes to achievements in Valve games. Valve does a great job creating these achievements, for the most part, but they could use some pointers here and there. Now, what actually makes an achievement good? Well, in my mind, different achievements serve different purposes, and for each kind of achievement, there are different criteria to what makes them good. For me, you have these three main categories for achievements: teachers, challenges, and milestones. Teachers are achievements which teach the player new concepts, interactions, strategies, and mechanics. Usually these achievements aren't that difficult to achieve, but are there to trigger a player to look into how to achieve them. This then reveals new information which might not be explicitly conveyed in-game. For example, in TF2 there are taunt kills you can get from performing a taunt. Often they have a long wind up and insta-kill the enemy you hit with it. The achievement Show Trial for Heavy reveals to the player that these taunt kills exist, and also shows that, yeah, you can use Heavy's finger gun to kill an enemy. These teacher achievements need to be easy to understand whilst not being a substitution for teaching core mechanics. No one wants an achievement for basic stuff like walking or shooting, but no one also wants to sit down and watch a 12-hour long tutorial on every single interaction and mechanic a game has. Challenges are achievements which test the skill of the player and are used to give gratification for exceptional gameplay. Players often use these as a badge of honor or to give themselves bragging rights. An example of this is the Garden Gnome achievement from Left 4 Dead 2, an achievement for carrying a gnome from the beginning of the Dark Carnival mission to the very end without losing it. Carrying the gnome makes you unable to use weapons or healing items and leaves you with only a shove to defend yourself against the zombies. Doing this achievement takes a lot of coordination and skill from the survivors and gives the players a massive amount of dopamine once completed. This being said, in more competitive team games like Deadlock, challenger achievements are best when they don't require you to handicap yourself and instead just reward you for doing well. You don't want to be that guy running around melee only to try and get some obscure achievement while the rest of your team is actually trying to win the game. Milestones are achievements used to indicate to the player that they've reached a, well, milestone. Players use these achievements to show their dedication to a game or character, and the developers use these to show appreciation to the player for their extended playtime. In Team Fortress 2, many of the mercenaries have achievements for obtaining a total amount of kills or damage over your playtime as them. However, TF2 also has the worst milestone achievement ever in Metal Massacre, for getting 1 million bot kills in the PvE game mode Man vs Machine. In my 7 days of MVM video, I estimated it would take me around 3,100 hours to actually finish it, which is currently just under triple the amount of hours I currently have in TF2. Achievements like this, with way too large of a milestone, only make the player feel bad for getting them because it suggests that they spend an unhealthy amount of time on the game. Instead of being proud for getting it, it would only serve to be a reminder that you likely played this game way too much. Either that, or it makes them look like a cheater who just hacked in all their achievements because no sane person has that achievement, so you must have cheated. Now that we have established the different categories of achievements and what makes them great, let's actually start going through my pitches for Deadlock's achievements, starting with some general milestone achievements. Firstly, we have some achievements for souls gained over your entire playtime in Deadlock. Soul Collector, Soul Harvester, Soul Scourer, and Soul Reaper. Pretty basic achievements which players can get faster by playing better and getting more souls quicker. With around 30 to 40,000 souls a match, these achievements aren't too crazy to get either. Not like that Metal Massacre. Ugh. Next we have some achievements which highlight player performance in matches. We have Soul Successor, Exterminator, The Assistant, Player Pummeler, Objective Obliterator, and Health Kick. These all just reward you for having the highest in each of the endgame stats. Except for deaths, because that would be just mean. Lastly, I have achievements for doing general things which any hero could perform. Urn Earned, you get for delivering the urn. Snatch and Grab, for stealing the urn from an enemy and delivering it in under 15 seconds. Ultimate Shutdown, for killing a player in the middle of their ultimate ability. New York's Finest for winning a match of Deadlock as every single hero, Lane Lurker for leaving your lane and killing an enemy in another lane during the laning phase, and Deconstructed for destroying 100 Guardians and Walkers over your total playtime. All of these achievements are pretty simple to get, they just require you to actually engage with the game on sort of a wider level. You know, playing with the urn, playing as each of the heroes to test them out, doing a couple laning ganks here and there, and actually destroying Guardians and Walkers for your team. But moving on, let's go on to the different heroes achievements. This is the main chunk of achievements I've created for Deadlock. For these achievements, I tried to specifically highlight interesting interactions with their abilities, reward big plays, and highlight potent playstyles for them so that players will have a well-rounded idea on what that hero is capable of.
1, 5, 10, I don't care how many there are.
Being a frontline tank, I wanted to highlight Abrams' resilience and survivability. Hellish Healing says, heal a total of 20,000 damage over the course of a match. This achievement encourages Abram players to get into fights, but keep themselves alive at the same time. What some might say is Abrams' whole game plan. Healing items such as Fortitude, Leech, and my personal favourite, Life Strike, are all great picks for this achievement, and for Abrams in general, especially Life Strike. My beloved. Bookworm Blitz. Catch 2 enemy heroes with a single shoulder charge, and then heavy melee both of them. Some players might not know that you can actually get multiple enemies with a single shoulder charge, and it's a pretty easy challenge for a newer player to try and achieve. You can easily do it in a duo lane during the laning phase, or in a big team fight. Plus, it encourages the Abram player to get up close to enemies, which is where they are most effective. Earth-Shattering Slam. Stun 4 enemies with a single activation of Seismic Impact. Now, this is going to be our first of many use your ultimate ability to hit a lot of people achievements, but they're just too easy to not mention. It's a nice, simple challenge achievement which rewards big gameplay moments and provides a lot of gratification to the player. These ultimate achievements are all best achieved in large teamfights, with enemies all bunched together.
Sometimes when I put these on people, they're like, oh no, what can I do? And it's like, nothing mate, you're gonna blow up.
For a character named after Jazz, his abilities and playstyle are very fitting. His abilities may seem like a jumbled together mishmash of themes, but they all come together to create a very cohesive and enjoyable experience. To account for the many uses of his unique kit, I made these achievements to mostly highlight his abilities. Exit reads, pull a teammate out of the radius of an enemy ultimate ability using Hook. This achievement helps show off Bebop's more supportive aspects, which often get overlooked by players. Many players only see Hook as a tool for grabbing enemies and ignore the valuable utility it can be for your team. This works to change that. Overclocked Overload. Have 2 sticky bombs attached to a single enemy hero at the same time. This achievement shows off a popular strategy for Bebop, the double bomb ramp strategy, where you use Echo Shard to place 2 sticky bombs on enemies at the same time to allow the increase in damage gained from the sticky bomb to be effectively doubled, rapidly increasing the bomb's damage over the course of a game until it becomes effectively a death sentence for anyone who gets stuck with one. It's a bit gimmicky and can be countered relatively easily with debuff remover, but this achievement works well to show off a playstyle for the hero which players might find very interesting. Rocket Sucket Robot. Use Exploding Uppercut on a creep with a sticky bomb attached to it to launch them into an enemy and damage them with the bomb's explosion. This achievement shows off a simple combo for Bebop which isn't explicitly explained in any of the game's information. Yes, all the information to figure out this combo is there in the ability descriptions, but this gives the player an extra hint to put the puzzle pieces together.
Time for a lesson in mass times velocity.
Only the smartest gamers play Dynamo, and to be the smartest gamers, you need the smartest achievements. Entangled Escape. Use Quantum Entanglement to help a teammate avoid an enemy ultimate. It takes quick wits and fast fingers to get this one. Dynamo is a great team player, with lots of support tools, so showcasing and rewarding using them to help your team is what I wanted to do with this achievement. Addition and Subtraction. Heal 500 HP with Rejuvenating Aurora, whilst dealing 500 damage to enemy heroes. To be a good professor, you have to be able to multitask, so teaching players to do so here is great. Obviously the player is intended to use the 3rd level upgrade of Rejuvenating Aurora to be able to fully shoot and use abilities during the duration. However, I also made sure that the math checked out so that you could, in theory, do the achievement using just melee. You just might need to hit multiple people with a single heavy melee here and there. This gives us true achievement masochists an extra optional challenge to perform for this achievement. Multilarity. Pull 4 or more enemies in with a single use of Singularity, the next one in our line of use ult on a lot of people achievements. However, this one is different because you have to be smart enough to count to 4. Yeah, let's go with that.
I can't replace what was taken from me, but I can make them answer for it.
After having his wife and child murdered, followed by the worst cover-up in history, Grey Talon is back on the hunt. An achievement hunt. Anyway. Guided Missile. Kill an enemy in either the far left or far right lane with Guided Owl, whilst you are on the opposite lane. It's a bit wordy, but you get the idea. This is a good way to remind players to think about other lanes when it comes to using their ultimate. It'll hopefully train them to look at the HP bars of enemies in other lanes and use that information to strategically use Guided Owl to secure picks. Crossed Bow. Using a single charge shot, finish off 2 enemy heroes. That's right, a sick collat kill. If I didn't want to make this achievement too hard, I would have also put in a 360, just for good measure. You're gonna want to get the camera for this one.
I will dance, and they will die.
Haze players are fueled by instant gratification. That dopamine spike they get from assassinating enemies is what gets them up in the morning. To help these players get their dopamine fix, I've given them achievements which reward exceptional gameplay. Cross Map Nap. Hit a sleep dagger on an enemy more than 40 meters away. A fun challenger achievement which rewards players who have mastered hitting sleep daggers. It's a crazy skill shot to hit, but when a player does it, they will feel amazing. Although, you likely won't actually be able to follow up on whoever you hit, but that's beside the point. Hyperfixation. Apply 80 stacks of fixation in 3 seconds. Since fixation is applied per bullet hit, this achievement is achieved by increasing Haze's fire rate, which is something you'll likely want to be doing as Haze anyway. This achievement then acts as a catalyst for players to look into the various items and think about which ones would increase their fire rate, which, as per her design, works really well with her abilities. This achievement also rewards players hitting lots of headshots, which applies fixation a lot faster than your standard body shots. Ballroom Blitz. Use Bullet Dance to kill 3 or more players. Ult people, get kills, get gratification, feel good, yay!
It doesn't matter if it was a fast win or a long win. At the end of the day, all that matters is that it's a win.
Dealing out both drinks and damage, Infernus loves nothing more than committing arson and murder. Wait a minute. Hot on your heels. Have at least 1 or more enemies standing in your flame dash for the entirety of its duration. This encourages players to use flame dash to chase down enemies or damage enemies trying to chase them down. 4th degree burns. Have 4 enemy heroes affected by afterburn at the same time. This achievement is interesting because you can get it a few different ways. You could increase your fire rate to apply afterburn faster, use a duration extender to have afterburn last longer, or use ricochet to hit multiple enemies at the same time. Luckily for Infernus, all of these items are mainstay in his builds, so showing them off here is great. Collective Concussion. Stun 4 enemies with a concussive combustion. Hey look, here's another one of these achievements. You know how this goes.
If you need me, I got your back.
People love Ivy. Maybe a little too much, but they're such a great support hero, it's hard not to. With all of these supportive tools, I decided to give her achievements which reward being an effective support. Flight of the Gargoyles. Use airdrop to help a friendly hero deliver the urn in under 18 seconds. This achievement highlights one of airdrop's unique uses, delivering the urn by picking up a teammate and flying them over to the delivery point. Securing those souls for your team can be what gives them that power spike they needed to gain the upper hand in a match, so showing off debatably the best way to secure them is very important. Stone Cold Ivy. Use Stone Form to avoid an ability from an enemy player and then stun that player. This achievement teaches players that you can use Stone Form to avoid certain abilities like Wraith's Telekinesis and Seven's Static Charge. Stone Form's ability description doesn't really convey this fact in its text. It just says that you turn yourself into impervious stone, which doesn't really convey anything about negation of abilities. Thusly, including this achievement in the game will help teach players that this is indeed the case, that you can use Stone Form to avoid certain targeted abilities.
This is dangerous work. Fortunately, I'm dangerously handsome.
Oh, sorry guys, that's a typo, my bad. And yep, that's better.
Kelvin, whatever his name is.
First for Kevin we have Under the Dome. Use Frozen Shelter to trap 2+ enemy heroes and 2+ friendly heroes, including yourself, inside of it, and then have only friendly heroes alive at the end of its duration. Doing a spin on the old hit 4 people with your ultimate achievement by having you hit 2 enemies and 2 friendlies. Functionally, however, this is the same type of achievement. I mean, we could also edit it to make it a little bit more lore accurate. Under the Dome, use Frozen Shelter to trap your friendly heroes inside and have you as the only survivor at the end of its duration. Get it? Because Kevin got all of his expedition killed out in the Arctic, and he was the only one who survived. Okay, this might be a little bit too mean. Expedient Expedition. Have 3 or more friendly heroes on your ice path at the same time. This achievement teaches the player that Ice Path is a great tool to help your team efficiently traverse the map, helping them rotate to other lanes, traverse other vertical surfaces, and gank enemies.
And when misfortune falls upon you, you will always wonder, was that fate? Or was that Lady Geist?
Lady Geist is a real femme fatale, in the sense that she is a female and is fatal. Fatal not only to others, but herself with her self-damaging abilities. For such a fatal foe, I gave her Vampiric Drain. Use Life Drain to deal/heal 480 damage over the course of 1 activation. This achievement requires some skillful movement to ensure that you're within range of your target for the entire duration, and also requires you investing in your spirit damage. Both of these things you'll want to be good at as Geist, as you want to deal out some serious spirit damage whilst maneuvering yourself within range of your close range abilities, such as Soul Exchange and, of course, Life Drain. Transfer Misery. Reduce an enemy hero to the minimum health percentage possible using Soul Exchange. This achievement simply rewards a good use of Soul Exchange, which can be tricky because it does require you having a tribute monster in your hand, and I mean you lose out on the battle phase, which means you won't be able to attack, and just kidding, but it does require you to be at low HP and close to the enemy, which is a recipe for getting yourself killed.
Perfect cardio, perfect form, perfect hair.
Arrogance Incarnate. If his ego inflated anymore, he wouldn't need his grapple to stay in the air, he would simply float on all the hot air he's blowing. What an asshole. Lash's first achievement is, Into the Corner. Use Death Slam to throw 3 or more enemies into your base. That's right, we're hitting an amount of people with our ultimate again, but this achievement adds a fun twist to it. Throwing enemies into your base or walkers is a great way to use Death Slam, as it turns a decent comboing tool into a huge damage spike, so I'm showing it off here in this achievement. From the top rope. Hit an enemy with Ground Slam, which was cast from above 35 meters high. This achievement helps reinforce the fact that Ground Strike does more damage the higher you are, whilst also being a challenge, as all that extra airtime gives enemies a lot longer to react and dodge out of the way of the attack. Float Leica. As Lash, stay in the air for 10 seconds. This achievement helps highlight abilities and items which allow Lash to stay in the air for long periods of time. Since Grapple is Lash's main mode of rotating and starting engagements, promoting a playstyle which keeps him in the air for longer is beneficial.
How do I sleep at night? Like a baby.
The obligatory turret character of Deadlock. All these types of games have to have one. Engineer, Torbjorn, Barrack, they're always there. Not to say McGinnis isn't unique or anything, she's got a healing ability, a barrier that blocks attacks. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, for her we have Say Hello. Have 5 turrets shoot a single enemy hero at the same time. A bit of a limit break achievement which also plays into McGinnis' current best build, the turret build. In theory, you can have heaps of turrets up at the same time using Refresher and Echo Shard along with Duration Extender and Cooldown Reducer, but 5 is a good number of them to all be in the same area and somewhat easily set up. You don't need 8 billion souls worth of upgrades to have 5 turrets at the same time. Lined Up. Damage 3 or more enemy heroes with a single spectral wall. This one's just a fun skill shot where you need to line up 3 enemies. But you can make it easier with improved reach, which does increase the size of the wall. You could also wait for a crowd control ult like Dynamo's Singularity to grab 3 people and then just use it on them while they're all immobilized.
I will protect my allies the only way I know how.
An excellent bodyguard in both lore and in-game. He will literally warp space to take a bullet for his team. To accentuate this fact, I gave him Body Guardian. Use Traveler to teleport to a teammate on low HP and kill an enemy who has recently damaged them. A teacher achievement which encourages the player to use the Traveler as a supportive tool. Which, to be fair, is its whole deal, but it's thematic with his whole bodyguard backstory, so I wanted to add it in. Marksman. Activate Jin's mark on 4 or more enemies at the same time. Needs to be previously marked. A lot like the one we did for Infernus, this achievement is fun because it promotes the use of items which are common to Mirage's builds. Increased fire rate, duration extender, and or ricochet are all similarly used for Mirage as they are for Infernus, so having a similar achievement between the two checks out. It may be a little unoriginal, but I think it's fun.
Some people say it's fighting dirty. I say it's fighting to survive. Tunnel rats rule. We're the tunnel rats. That's us. And we rule.
For Mo and Krill we have Over Krill. Activate combo on an enemy hero and have 2 other friendly heroes put that same hero under the effects of their ultimate abilities. Honestly, I thought of the pun and molded the achievement around it. I mean, come on. Over Krill? Hilarious. Pocket Sand. Disarm 3 or more enemy heroes with a single use of Sandblast whilst they are attempting to shoot you. Mo and Krill are some of the tankiest guys around, and with Disarm he can really neuter some specific heroes' abilities to damage them. This achievement then encourages the player to draw a lot of attention away from their teammates and onto themselves, and then use Sandblast to help protect them. Tunneling Traversal. During the duration of Burrow, move 200 meters away from where you started. Mo and Krill are very mobile characters, which is necessary with so many close-range abilities, so increasing movement is great for his playstyle. Thus, why we encourage doing so here.
People who say you can't outrun a bullet have a severe lack of imagination.
The girl with a lava lamp for her head. Paradox is a time-manipulating master thief. Never seen that before. She herself is quite paradoxical. How can a character be so top tier but absolute ass when I try and use them? Has to be some kind of conspiracy. For her we have Escape Secured. Hit an enemy with Paradoxical Swap who is over 50 meters away. You can increase the range of Paradoxical Swap with these items and, of course, the level 3 upgrade for the ability. This is a huge skill shot for Paradox and this achievement is a reward for hitting it. Bullet Matrix. Stop time for 100 enemy projectiles with a single time wall. This achievement shows that heroes with high fire rates or a focus on bullet damage are effectively mitigated with Time Wall. It also rewards effective use of the ability in larger engagements. Players will likely get this achievement against Haze, Infernus, Wraith, or McGinnis when they're fully spun up.
I never wanted to spread misery, but it looks like today I have to.
Pocket, the guy I keep accidentally calling Jacket, is a nepo baby turned do-gooder who has abandoned their family business and now only severely poisons the public with his affliction, rather than through spiritual waste dumping. For Pocket, we have Secured Luggage. Use Enchanter's Satchel to avoid an enemy hero's targeted ability. Again, like Stone Cold Ivy, the Enchanter's Satchel ability doesn't properly outline what exactly it even does, more so than Ivy's Stone form. At least hers said, turn yourself into impervious rock, which at least implies some kind of resistance to abilities, as opposed to his, which just says, escape into your suitcase. Like, what the hell does that even mean? Sickly Scourge. Use Affliction to leave 2 or more enemy heroes at 1 HP at the same time. We're back with another ultimate achievement. Pretty standard stuff here, but this one does require the enemy heroes to stay alive for the ability's duration, which does make it trickier. You want to get them to low HP, but not actually finish them off. It's a tricky line to straddle.
They will rise, and they will die.
7. Proven to be one of, if not the, most powerful mystic in the entire world. He managed to survive his own execution and proceeded to disintegrate his executioners. His mastery over the spiritual arts is what I wanted to reflect in his achievements. Static Discharge. Stun 2 enemy heroes with a single static shock cast on yourself. Static Shock is a great ability for 7, allowing him to punish overcommitted enemies or stop enemies from running away. However, it can be pretty easily countered and isn't great for starting engagements. That is, unless you cast it on yourself and run into people. You avoid people cancelling the stun with their abilities or items, and you can pre-cast it before engaging with the enemy to have it trigger the moment you get in close. Kinda like a mini Infernus ult. Cloud Coverage. Increase the radius of Storm Cloud to 50 meters or more, and get 2 kills with it. I know that the ult-focused 7 build has fallen out of favour and is more of a new player strategy, but it's core to 7's identity in-game. Plus, I like the pun.
Once I get going, there's no slowing me down.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
I'm the Shadow Man. I sneak and I creep.
Flurry of Blows. Using Killing Blow, kill 3 people in quick succession within 10 seconds of the previous killing blow. A challenge achievement which rewards pulling off an insane chain of attacks. Obviously, this requires the level 3 upgrade for his Killing Blow, but mostly it requires quick reflexes and strategic planning to achieve. Fan of Daggers. Have 4 enemy heroes bleeding from Shiv's serrated knives at the same time. At maximum rage, serrated knives ricochet to nearby enemies, so theoretically, you only need to hit 2 people with your knives. However, you could also increase how many knives you have with extra charges, and the level 1 upgrade for the ability, so that you have enough knives to hit each of them individually. Whatever works, works.
Alright, time to get to work.
A blue-skinned female sniper. Never seen that one before. How hard is it to make a hero shooter without copying Overwatch's homework? Look, I'm not making any accusations, but come on. For Vindicta, I gave her Shot Down. Use Assassinate to kill an enemy hero riding the zip lines. An achievement that makes a clutch kill even more rewarding to get for the player. Nothing feels better than hitting a retreating enemy with Assassinate right as they are about to escape. Aerial Assassin. Use flight to stay either in the air or on the tops of buildings for more than 50% of a match's runtime. Not many heroes can properly utilize the verticality of Deadlock, which is a unique feature it has over many other MOBAs. Giving Vindicta a character which can utilize this space, an achievement for doing so, I thought would be a great way to make players more aware of these spaces. Plus, it's a fun Floor is Lava achievement.
Who would have thought that punching strangers would feel so good?
Bro out here looking like Goop from Ben 10. Bro is flubber right now. Look at this dude. He's like one of those old 1950s jelly meals they used to do. Such a strange and unique design, which matches well with his strange and unique abilities. Abilities which I want to highlight with these achievements. Using puddle punches, have a teammate travel over 20 meters whilst within the cube. This was a pun too good to pass up on. It's a boxing pun for an achievement that requires you to be in a cube. Or in other words, a box. Boxing. And you punch people in boxing. Isn't that crazy? It's great. It's a great pun. It's a really good pun. But anyway, Bouncing Jelly. Hit a single hero 3 times with a single use of splatter. I'm trying to do a Bouncing Betty joke here, but I will take name suggestions. This achievement is a fun challenge which requires a player to properly utilize the level 3 upgrade of splatter. This achievement is best gotten in tight spaces like in the underground tunnels or within buildings.
I'll give my life for the cause, but first I'll take yours.
First up for Warden, we've got High Speed Chase. As Warden, slow an enemy hero's movement by 30%, whilst having your own movement speed above 17 meters a second. As Warden, you want to build in some movement slow into your build, as to help enhance Binding Ward and Last Stand. Along the same lines, you also want to be buffing your movement speed. He also has his abilities which both slow and increase movement speeds in Alchemical Flask and Willpower, so an achievement based on movement seemed appropriate. Life in Prison. Upon casting Binding Word on an enemy hero at max HP, have that enemy hero die before that Binding Word ends. This achievement may be either too easy or too difficult. It might be easy to just catch someone off guard in the laning phase and just randomly kill them, or the max HP requirement may cause too much trouble to get it done before the duration ends. Duration increases and slowing effects will make Binding Word as effective as possible for getting this achievement.
I don't appreciate the news labeling some of my services as rackets. Who wouldn't love being protected by me?
She's a smart and ruthless businesswoman who knows how to get what she wants. Let's hope they can also get these achievements, starting with NY Hold'em. Use telekinesis to lift 3 or more enemy heroes with a single activation. This is the last in our line of ultimate multiple people achievements. We all know how these achievements go, so I won't bore you. Card Counter. Get the max number of card trick cards possible on Wraith. The spirit-focused Wraith build which focuses on their cards is a popular strategy, so I wanted to show it off here with this achievement. Plus, it's fun throwing around a bunch of playing cards like Gambit. Card Flick. Kill an enemy hero who is out of your line of sight with Card Trick. A fun achievement which teaches players that, with the cards tracking your cursor, you can often direct them around corners to hiding enemies. A quirk of the ability not explicitly stated in its description.
They will never stop me. They will all die.
Look at that forehead. Why is it so big? To keep all those brains inside? Well, let's hope so. For her, I gave them Hitch a Ride. Use Flying Strike to travel 65 meters towards an enemy hero. Basically, the only way to achieve this is to attach to an enemy who has just attached themselves to the zipline. This achievement is just here because it's funny when you do this. You go flying at Mach 10, spinning towards a target like some sort of purple missile. It's funny, and I want to see more people do it. Slashed through. Kill 2 enemy heroes with a single use of Power Slash. Another final skill shot achievement for getting a collateral kill with Power Slash. To get this achievement, the Yamato will need to buff their spirit damage, which is core to their builds. And that's it for the different heroes. Now, lastly, I wanted to do a small section on some funny achievements. I personally don't think these are worth putting in the game, but if they were added, they would be quite funny. First, we have a combo achievement for both Lash and Bebop. Bebopped, as Bebop, kill an enemy Lash 3 times without dying, and then Lashed, as Lash, kill an enemy Bebop 3 times without dying. Since the two of them have the most hate towards each other, I thought it would only be appropriate to give them these 2 achievements. You could do many more other feud-based achievements like this one for other heroes, but I think if you were going to do any of them, this would be the one to do. Bled out. Die from bloodletting. Something we've all done as Shiv at some point, accidentally dying to his bloodletting ability. Get down! Use Traveler to teleport anywhere and die within 2 seconds of doing so. Basically the opposite of Body Guardian. Along the same lines as this achievement, out of position. Use Paradoxical Swap to swap places with an enemy, and then end up within 10 meters of 5 enemies who proceed to kill you within 5 seconds. Use your ability to get yourself in a bad situation, just like the last achievement. Lastly, we have Lament the Leaver. Cause a player you've just killed to leave the match. A callback to the TF2 achievement Barbecue for effectively dominating someone out of the game. Obviously not a great achievement because you effectively need to bully an enemy, so probably best to leave this one out. But that's it, all the achievements that I created for Deadlock. For any Deadlock devs out there, feel free to use these, but I will want a credit as Achievement Designer in-game. As for everyone else, I would love to hear any of your ideas for achievements. I'm no expert on some of these heroes, so I'm not 100% familiar with each of their nuances, so if you have some more insight on what achievements would be good for them, I would love to hear it. Also, if this video is well received, I'll make a follow-up video of me actually trying to get these achievements, as to test how easy or difficult they are, so that we can make some adjustments if need be. There's also a chance I'll showcase some of the achievements you guys come up with in the comments. But for now, thank you for watching.